Look at this guy. Grown adult trying to power scale total drama characters.
Get lost, freak!
I know the Total Drama franchise is probably one of the most obscure series to try and make a power scaling video on, but hear me out real quick. I really like the Total Drama franchise, well, most of it anyway. Plus, in order to compete properly in Total Drama, you need to be able to withstand extremely physically draining challenges, some of which even have other contestants getting physical with each other. Physical strength isn't the only thing that wins a fight though, you know, these characters still gotta be mentally strong as well. And I'm going to be starting with the weakest of the strong, ending with the very strongest contestant at the very end. Of course, since Total Drama isn't in the same genre as a shonen action anime, it's going to be a tad difficult to rank these characters that fall in the middle area of the strength tier. Some of these characters may even be interchangeable in placings due to how close it is. So just bear with me on that if you can. But before I get into sizing everyone up, I want to point out that over 90% of the people who watch my content on a regular basis aren't actually subscribed to my channel. So if you watch my videos and haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot and to be able to find my videos much easier than before. Thanks. Now for number 10, we have Lashana. Lashana was an incredibly strong competitor in Total Drama Island, doing well in physical challenges like the Moose Ride, Brunch of Disgustingness, and even beating Molotov, the log rolling champion bear, when she never logged rolled before in her life. She even overpowered Duncan in a scuffle in the Tri-Arm Triathlon Challenge. Her first elimination is still one of the lamest eliminations in Total Drama history. I get they wanted Heather in the final 3 so she could get what she deserved with the Dare Gauntlet, but it's still unfortunate how it went down. Her brute strength is all she really has going for her though. Her mental game was good at first, but they kind of botched it in World Tour when Alejandro manipulated her extremely early on into elimination. It's just weird because of how good it was in Island, and it almost felt better in action, so for her to get swindled so easily and so early on made it feel like she had gotten a lot weaker overall, especially considering she was aware of Heather's manipulative nature from the get-go in Island. I get the genders being reversed and Alejandro being good looking doesn't make it exactly the same, but at the same time, you know, Harold existed and he was there for her, so I don't know. And compared to everyone else on this list, I'm pretty sure she's the slowest as well in terms of speed. For number 9, we have Courtney. Courtney has always been a pretty consistent player since her debut. With the exception of Total Drama Island, she's made it until the team merger every single time she's competed. Like Lashana, she was also able to take Duncan in a fight in the Ball Pit Total Drama Action Challenge. However, I feel like Duncan wasn't performing 100% that fight, so I don't know if I can call that a proper W. She's also incredibly fast, as shown in the Sunday Money Sunday, when she last minute outran Mal, Scott, Zoe, and Gwen to cross the finish line first. She's also had no trouble taking on characters like Harold or Cody either. That's not too crazy of a feat, but it's better than nothing. Although not as talented as Heather and Al in this aspect, she's pretty good at mental mind games too. She was at her A game with this in Total Drama Action when she had Justin, and at some points Beth completely wrapped around her finger. She ended up being the main reason Justin got booted that season actually. However, her extremely emotional nature can tend to get the better of her, like wanting to throw challenge after challenge in World Tour if it meant Gwen got booted when she found out Gwen kissed Duncan, which made teammates Heather and Cody very upset at times. The placing between she and Lashana is extremely close, to be honest. I think Lashana is for sure physically stronger, but Courtney has her beat in speed and mental stability, I think. Lashana getting booted as early as she did in World Tour is the main factor that has Courtney a little bit above her though. Also, since Courtney just straight up competed more than Lashana did, she has more screen time to show off her strengths. I want to point that out because that's not the only time where a character on this list could have an edge on another due to screen time difference. At number 8, there's Heather. Some of you may be thinking, why is she above Lashana? You know, Lashana beat her up pretty bad in Slap Slap Revolution. Okay, here's the thing with that. Heather did not fight back at all. Why? Because she was trying to warn Lashana about Alejandro, while at the same time trying to win the challenge. You know, Heather wasn't holding any animosity towards Lashana this season. At least nowhere near as much as in Total Drama Island. All of her focus was on Alejandro, and that stayed true until the bitter end of World Tour. One of the best manipulators in all of Total Drama, Heather was rarely fooled by others' attempts to get a leg up on her. She was always one step ahead. Her only fumble was getting duped by Alejandro in All-Stars with the Chris Head statue. Still a tad salty about that, not gonna lie. Her speed was shown to be on par with Alejandro, as seen in the World Tour episode Grease's Pieces. They were evenly matched the entire time until Alejandro got too cocky, causing him to lose at the last minute. In the season finale, she was able to carry the log mannequin of Alejandro all the way up to the top of the volcano for what looked like several miles in distance to get all the way up there. Plus, her mannequin weighed more than the one Alejandro was carrying, since his was modeled after Heather's figure and hers was modeled after his figure. Although she was noticeably tired during this process, she managed to get the mannequin all the way up to the top of the volcano. She even got payback on Alejandro by nailing his Kiwis and slapping him so hard that he slid all the way down to the bottom of the mountain. I'd say Alejandro's gotta weigh at least 180 pounds too, you know, considering his muscled physique and being around if not a little taller than 6 feet. She's always been an incredibly consistent competitor too. It's just the rest of the characters I'm going to name, you know, have slight edges on her. Next up is Lightning. Similar to Lashana, his main and, well, pretty much all of his power comes from his physical brute strength. Although in terms of intelligence, he's probably the weakest on this list, his physical strength and challenges was so good that he was able to land a spot in the final 2 of Total Drama Revenge of the Island. He's one of the only contestants who was able to overpower Feral Ezekiel in a scuffle too. Not even Mal was able to do that, but I'll get into that later though. Just him swinging a thick stick of wood was enough to damage Cameron's Iron Man armor consistently on each swing. He shows no sign of fear in risky challenges, being able to overpower Fang the hybrid shark in the first Total Drama All-Stars challenge, pumped air out so quickly into Brick's diving suit that the amount of air bloated up the suit like a balloon and was hard enough to propel Fang away from Brick. Like I said before, his biggest drawback is his extremely low intelligence. Because of how much smarter everyone else was on the villains team in All-Stars, it was super easy for him to get booted early after making a very avoidable mistake. His ego got the best of him. The number 6 spot goes to Jose of the Ice Dancer team. Although maybe not quite as physically strong as Lightning, she's definitely very close. I think her most notable showing of strength was when she and Jock got eliminated in New York. The hissy fit she threw had her kick the head off a stone statue, ripped off the statue's wings and hurled it across the walkway, picked up an alligator and held it over her head, then threw it past Don and Jock. An American alligator weighs around 500 pounds on average, by the way. And the hot dog cart she picked up after that could weigh anywhere between 200 pounds and a half a ton or 1,000 pounds. You know what? Maybe she actually is a little bit physically stronger than Lightning. Due to her being an ice dancer, she's also incredibly agile, flexible, and fast as well. Her mental game is, I'd say, better than Courtney's, but not as good as Heather's or Alejandro's. Considering she was one of the main antagonists, it's only natural that she knows how to work people's minds. However, she let her anger issues and belief of superstitions get the better of her more than once in the competition. Coming in at number 5 is Best Zombie Boy Sean. Sean's skill variety was some of the highest out of any contestant in Total Drama history due to his constant preparation for the zombie apocalypse. Incredibly agile, being able to climb trees and jump from tree to tree with ease, vast knowledge of plant life and wildlife, solid camouflage skills from his time working for a bakery, solid flexibility and gymnastics skills due to laser dodging practice in his yard. His physical strength is also solid, being able to carry Dave for 400 meters while running and not looking tired in the slightest. Dave is a pretty small guy, but I'd say he's at least over 100 pounds, so that's something. And he was also able to carry Jasmine on his shoulder for a while and even hold her above his head for a brief moment. Considering how tall and well built she is, I think it's safe to assume she's in the 200 pound range, maybe even low 300s. She's the tallest character in all of Total Drama besides Ryan after all, so she might even be over 7 feet. Sean's biggest strength can also be his biggest weakness though. Even though his fear of the apocalypse allowed him to develop so many skills, this fear has been known to cloud his judgment before. I know his fear has kind of dwindled down since the finale, but as far as I'm concerned, he still believes it'll happen. He's just not taking it as seriously if it means maintaining his relationship with Jasmine. And the number 4 spot goes to Jasmine. Even though she didn't make it as far as Sean did in Pakatu Island, she's able to do pretty much everything he can do, and in some ways she's better at these things. She's a natural leader, much more level-headed than Sean, you know, became the de facto leader to Team Kino Sewak before the first episode even ended. Because of her Australian background, she was incredibly knowledgeable about the wildlife and plant life on the island too. As for physical strength, she definitely has the best lifting ability of the entire Pakatu Island cast, able to hold up both Sean and Leonard with one hand each using just her shoulder strength, breaking a solid packed gigantic snowball with her bare fist, and even briefly carrying a pine tree on her back up a cliff for a brief period of time. And the average weight of a tree that size is probably about 5,000 pounds, so it's a shame she had to be eliminated before the final 3 just because they wanted to milk Sugar's on-screen time as the main antagonist more, because I love her a lot. Number 3 goes to Duncan. Some of you may think he should be lower on this list due to being bested physically before by other characters, but hear me out. Duncan has competed in 4 Total Drama seasons and has placed in the top 10 in every single one. He's shown very solid leadership qualities and is actually incredibly smart for a delinquent. He knows how to work people and knows when other people are trying to work him, just like Heather. He's on par with Alejandro and Heather in this aspect, in my opinion. DJ said he saw him wrestle a grizzly bear to the ground. He took on an alligator in the epilogue episode of Total Drama Island. His shoulder strength, leg, and core strength was strong enough to hold Owen over a miniature cliff by the feet. It was a small cliff, sure, but Owen was still hanging in midair. Although characters like Jasmine may have lifted more on screen, Duncan has more overall screen time, and I mentioned this earlier, because OG cast members have went through more on screen, it's better to gauge their strengths. I think him being sent to a grown man prison as his ending nothing helps my argument more for having him this high on the list. Juvie already toughened him up pretty heavily, but Grown Man Prison is on a whole different level. Nothing in particular to really go off for speed, but I guess since he was on the run from the feds for a while during World Tour, that's saying something. But that's more of a compliment to his stealth tactics, I suppose. Taking the number 2 spot is Alejandro Burros Muertos, one of the most threatening total drama antagonists to date. This guy had pretty much everything. Manipulative charm, strength, speed, flexibility, and leadership skills. Even though he was brand new to the Total Dramaverse, being one of 2 new contestants for World Tour, with everyone else being OG, he still managed to become the de facto leader to Team Chris is really hot. I mentioned the hurdle race with Heather earlier in the video, but this guy was running on his hands doing flips over the hurdles and still kept on pace with her. Speaking of hand walking, he did nothing but walk on his hands for the first 6 episodes of Total Drama All-Stars. That's some incredible endurance and balance right there. In All-Stars, he surpassed his brother Jose in fighting skills by completely dominating him in boxing. The same Jose that was supposedly better than him at literally everything. Older brother too, by the way. He even bested Heather in the very end for their last time together in a competition to date. I personally don't like how it went down, but it still happened, so at that point he's got the leg up on her. There's only one other character in the entire series who's been able to one-up Alejandro in these aspects. Number 1 spot for this list. Mal is broken. Putting my feelings for him as a character aside, there's no tiptoeing around the fact how stupidly strong this guy is. He makes Alejandro look like a complete bitch, especially in episode 10 of All Stars. He was able to have everyone, including Zoe for a while, in the palm of his hand. Broke a phone with one hand, crushed Al's wrist with ease, beat Izzy in a fight and ended that fight by throwing her out of the boxing ring, carried a boulder over his head showing little struggle. Although Feral Zeke was able to trap him in the cage, I'm pretty sure Mal was just caught off guard here. He was more focused on making sure Cam got hurt than actually winning the challenge, so Zeke catching him probably didn't make much of a difference for him in the grand scheme of things, so I feel like he just kind of let it happen. Can't forget he was powerful enough to enslave all the rest of Mike's personalities and eventually Mike himself. And while these personalities were chained to the boulders, he was able to access their skills whenever he wanted. Granted, he only did this once with Svetlana to gain her gymnastic skills, but if he wanted to, he could access the others. Since Mal is already stupidly strong in his own right, he wouldn't really need to access Vito. However, turning into Manitoba would give him as much outdoor knowledge as Sean or Jasmine. I can confidently say that based off what's been shown on screen in Total Drama, nobody is topping Mal in a 1v1. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on my list if you agree or have any placings you'd change or characters you'd have subbed in. Like I said, this list was already really close as is, and there were some characters I initially had on this list that I took off because of how slim the differences were. Zoe, Gwen, Sierra, and Sky were initially considered to be placed around where Courtney or Heather currently are. I also considered Ryan just because of how huge he is. I just felt like there wasn't enough showings there, specifically for Ryan. You know, most of his screen time was focused on the relationship stuff with Stephanie, so I may even make a follow-up video on this too, ranking the next 10 strongest characters if enough of y'all would want to see that. You know, just let me know in the comments, of course. If you did enjoy this video, though, be sure to leave a like down below. It helps me out a lot. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.